What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Advice. We are back again with part 4 of the Global Challenge run. Now, in between the last episode and right now, I did win one game. I don't know if it was a rage quit turn 1 because they didn't like the leads or their game crashed, but either way, it was a less than 1 turn win, so I didn't put it in here. But now we are close to our goal of top 1,000, and let's see if we can break through. So our first op of the episode has a pretty standard Calyrex shadow team. Chi-Yu makes it a little bit difficult. Offensively, I really like Calyrex Ice and Urshifu. I think that just the two of them alone can get things done with the support of Incineroar and Indeedee. Incineroar is really good against every Pokemon on their team besides the Urshifu, and Indeedee can prevent their fake outs, stop grassy terrain, and also has safety goggles for the Amoonguss, as well as walling Calyrex Shadow pretty decently. So I do like this. Raikou in an open team sheet format could be good against this team if I see that they don't have Covert Cloak. But if they are cloaked, Raikou is like one turn slow in accomplishing what I want it to accomplish. But Snarl, if they do not have Covert Cloak, is really effective. It does like 45-50% damage as well as dropping their special attack. And with our Assault Vest and Defensive Spread, we are able to take a Helping Hand Expanding Force in terrain. So that is useful. And yeah, the Amoonguss makes things a little bit tricky, just relying on Urshifu, like especially if they're Terra Water. That's why Raikou's really good on this team. Just a fast electric type that can hit the water types that Urshifu and Cali Ice have trouble with. So yeah, good luck to my opponents. Have a good game. Alright, we see dual fire type lead, Chi-Yu, Incineroar. They do get the Intimidate into my Cali Ice. But that is okay because I do want to preserve Cali Ice for the Calyrex Shadow that's in the back. So I will just go for the Surging Strikes and switch in Indeedee. No reason to overpredict here. They do have two grass types to switch into the Surging Strikes if they don't want to exhaust their Terra. But if they bring in Amoonguss, we have Indeedee coming in immediately to exert offensive pressure on it. And if they bring in Rillaboom, Indeedee comes in after because Calyrex Ice is slower than Chi-Yu. So we will get rid of their grassy terrain on switch-in. Okay, so they do switch out the Chi-Yu. Into Amoonguss. So on one hand, that's rough because we could have Surging Strikes the Incineroar, which is nice to get rid of. And they are Rocky Helmet, so double whammy. Attacking into a resist and taking just under 50%. Because of our 176 HP stat, we can survive 6 hits into Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet does 1/6 per tick, and 176 divided by 6 is 29.33333, and so that 0.33333 times 6 leaves us with 2 HP. So because of that, I'm going to Surging Strikes into Incineroar to keep them honest, and then Psychic the Amoonguss. I believe that if they go for Terra, we will still KO with the combination of Surging Strikes and Psychic, and getting rid of Amoonguss and its Regenerator is nice. And yeah, we keep them honest by Surging Striking into the Incineroar. Okay, they just go for the Rage Powder. But as you can see, we survive on 2 HP, and our Indeedee survive on 2 HP, and our Indeedee does outspeed Incineroar and picks up the KO with Psychic. Very good. Okay, and they knock off Indeedee, so we keep our Scarf Urshifu. And I will bring in Incineroar. Get at least one Intimidate off into their Incineroar before the game ends. And now I will just Surging Strikes the Chi-Yu, and I will cover for their Terastallization by clicking Knock Off into them as well. Now I really like to preserve, it's pretty much mandatory to preserve my Terra Normal on Ice Rider in front of Calyrex Shadow teams. So we will hope that we can eliminate this Chi-Yu before our Ice Rider comes in. Okay, we see Terastallization on their end. And they are Terra Grass, so that will allow them to survive the Surging Strikes. We do outspeed, that is wonderful. And for being resisted, that is a healthy chunk of damage. More than I expected. So I am quite confident that this knockoff will pick up. And we do outspeed. Beautiful. So they are down to their last 2. We are as well. But their Terra is gone. And our Terra is intact. And they don't go for Parting Shot. They just go for knockoff. So they don't get to shed their Intimidate. And we are in pretty optimal position, I would say. Okay, so they do bring Shadow Rider, as expected. And we just saw that their Chi-Yu was Choice Specs, so we are not feeling threatened with our Incineroar. Without Terra, they should not have any way to do any significant damage to Incineroar. Now I'm considering going for the Terra Normal and just high horsepowering into Incineroar, covering for the Protect, but I'm just going to go for my own Protect, not show my Terra yet. Knockoff into their Cali Shadow is pretty safe. I think I'm just trying to consider all the options for how I could lose this. And by going for Protect on my Ice Rider, I just don't really see any way. So I'm going to knock off. They do go for the Protect. As do we. Looks like it's not a speed tie. Unlikely to be a speed tie between our Incineroars. And they do just go for the knockoff, trying to get a little extra chip into Incin. So I'm going to go for the Terra Normal Glacial Lance because I am worried about their Calyrex Shadow being Focus Sash. And I think just making sure that we get a little bit of damage into Incineroar is good. Because high horsepower is not going to KO anyways. This dude does take a long time to choose every play. Alright, we get to see the Crown Jeweled King Calyrex Ice Rider. Okay, they just go for the Astral Barrage. Okay, and we do see Life Orb, so we didn't need to go for the Glacial Lance. but it is always worth playing cautiously when you are in the position to do so. And they go for a Will-O-Wisp, but that's okay. Even if they had hit there, we have Swords Dance and they're intimidated. We're normal type. They were never doing enough damage, so I will show them that we have Swords Dance and just Parting Shot to remove their damage potential. And yeah, that's it. GG. Alright, we are very close to our goal of top 1,000. Now Tyler, 1665, has an incredible rating and a Sun team. It's pretty difficult for us. So being that they have the jump bluff with Sleep Powder, I'd love to bring in Didi for Safety Goggles Redirection and Calyrex to force their Terra on Groudon or jump bluff, just depending on who or what they bring. We can do some pretty cheeky stuff in the Sun with Urshifu. 2 Helping Hand Surging Strikes is guaranteed to KO, even if they're really bulky, and if they're not bulky, Surging Strikes into Terra Water Helping Hand Surging Strikes will definitely KO. So we can kind of lull them into complacency by going for a plain Surging Strikes into their Groudon, making them think they can survive another one, and then we bust out the Terra and or Helping Hand, just depending on how bulky they actually are. So it's a good way to get through Groudon. Urshifu is also really good into their Urshifu, their Incineroar, as well as the Farigiraf. So our last Pokemon that we bring along is Amoonguss, just in case they happen to go for a Trick Room. Terra Water Amoonguss is also relatively strong into this team if we do not see the Raging Neck. And being that we are max physical defense on the Amoonguss, their team being really physically offensive, it just makes sense to bring it. So we're going with the dual redirection mode. That's a great way to support Calyrex Ice. Okay. So we both lead our anti-priority along with our restricted. I am going to just Helping Hand and Glacial Lance. I'd love to get as much damage off as possible turn 1. We do get them to exhaust their Terra immediately. And they go Terra Fire, so that's nice to see because it does not change the calculations on Urshifu. Okay, Calyrex dodges the Precipice Blades. We get a fantastic hit off into Farigiraf. They just go for Hyper Voice and their Throat Spray. But they are slower than Calyrex Ice. And even with that +1, they're doing pathetic damage. So now I want to Psychic the Groudon and Protect. I would love to just sack in Didi here. They do bring in Incineroar, so we'll get intimidated, but they can't fake us out next turn because of our Psychic terrain. And if Indeedee goes down here, we can bring out Urshifu and just play close combat. Okay, they go for another Precipice Blades. Oh, Indeedee, you slippery little demon. Let's go. Gets off a huge Psychic. And now Groudon is in much more manageable range. So, I think honestly I just want to go for Helping Hand, high horsepower into the Groudon. Pick up the KO, get the attack boost back, get us back to neutral. Okay, they do double connect this time. doesn't really do all that much to Calyrex Ice. We connect and pick up. So their Terra's gone. We still have ours. And we survive knockoff. You love to see it. Alright, now I can just bring in my Urshifu. And they bring in theirs. Okay, but it's Urshifu Dark. So I have a pretty safe close combat into Incineroar because if they switch in Farigiraf, it'll die too. I am a little worried about them being like a surprise Focus Sash Incineroar. But I'm guessing the Focus Sash is probably on the Urshifu, if anything. So I'm going to just go for the close combat and switch in a Moongus here, expecting them to want to clean up Calyrex Ice. And Calyrex Ice is worth saving because it does outspeed the Farigiraf, and Farigiraf is low health. So we do pick up Incin with the close combat. And Amoonguss tanks Wicked Blow. Easy tank, no problem. Breaks their Sash if they have one. And now we just have a free close combat into Farigiraf. And we can just Rage Powder the Urshifu until Kingdom Come. Goodbye. Farigiraf comes in. Farigiraf goes down. Alright, and we survive 2 Wicked Blows pretty handily. Sunlight is gone, as are their hopes of winning and climbing higher than 1665. Feels good. I'm going to go Terra Water and Rage Powder. And battle was canceled. Alright. GG Tyler. And oh, would you look at that. We are well into the top 1,000. And we get another 1600s opponent. Calyrex Ice Mirror, but they have Pelipper and Raging Neck. So this is a perfect opportunity for Raikou to go crazy. I'm going to go Raikou Urshifu in the lead. Calyrex Ice is 1000% coming, and then I think for support, Indeedee is the most versatile. There's an argument for Amoonguss because of that Urshifu, but I like specially defensive Indeedee against the Pelipper and the Raging Neck, and then Safety Goggles is also really good if they bring Amoonguss, so we'll do that. Obviously, Helping Hand is always fantastic. Helping Hand is definitely my most clicked move on Indeedee. That extra 1.5, it's basically Choice Band or Specs. It turns any attack into Choice Band or Specs. And it really, really helps Calyrex Ice get going if it has a +1. Alright, pretty sick fit. Kind of looking like Billie Eilish. I'm stylish. Okay. So, we are intimidated on Urshifu. We do have a relatively safe switch into Indeedee. But I'm not convinced they're going to click Fake Out here, and if they do, I'm not worried about Calyrex Ice doing enough damage to Urshifu for it to matter, so I am just going to click U-turn. We have Indeedee on the team, and this is a pretty high-rated player, so I just don't see them clicking the Fake Out. But them going Terra Grass here makes me think, yeah, they did not So we sniffed out their Terra. We get a super effective U-turn off for a little bit of chip. Now I could bring in Cali Ice here, but I'm really worried about Incineroar going for a Will-O-Wisp. So I'm going to swap in Indeedee. Okay, Volt Switch does a decent little chunk into Incineroar. And I'm going to bring in Calyrex Ice because we have leftovers, so if they go for Glacial Lance, we'll heal it up pretty well. And if they go for Trick Room, we look like we are in a threatening position on Incineroar because they do not know. Oops. Well, never mind. They go for Parting Shot and get out of there, so... Looks like we brought Calyrex Ice into the wrong slot. But their Calyrex Ice is now weak to mine. So even intimidated, I should be able to do pretty substantial damage. And they bring out the Raging Neck. So now we're looking at 2 Pokemon we hit super effectively. And they just go for the Lance. Alright, little Lance Bass doesn't do very much. We heal back up. Now the Incineroar swap is very, very obvious, so I'm just going to click Swords Dance and Protect. I don't want to give them the Glacial Lance boost by letting Indeedee go down. So they get the Intimidate off, but Swords Dance in your face, cuz. And a little baby Lance. Does a little yip. A little slight yip. But because we preserved Indeedee, we now have an extremely free high horsepower helping hand into the Incin slot. And we saw their Raging Bolt in the back, which doesn't want to switch in. We don't know what their 4th Pokemon is, but they may think that they are in a good position to not switch out. And they just go down, so we don't have to worry about the Intimidate pressure anymore. We're +1. And they're +1 as well. But we still have Psychic Terrain for, I think, 2 turns. So we can use that to our advantage, and even if they bring in Raging Bolt here, Urshifu is unthreatened. Okay, Raging Bolt comes back out. But it can't take a Glacial Lance, so I'm just gonna Glacial Lance and U-turn into the Cali Ice. And I'd imagine that unless they protect, this is a double KO. Okay, they do protect the Cali Ice, but Urshifu, with its Unseen Fist, is still able to get on out of here. Bring in Raikou, soak up some damage if they try to attack Urshifu. And we don't get to see what they do because we outspeed with our Turbo Cali Ice. So they're down, they're gone. And now that we're +2, there's no chance that this Cali Ice survives. Oh no. No way they made their entire team weak to Glacial Lance for me. This game is over. This game was over as soon as I clicked that Swords Dance TBH. Yeah, good game. Another 1600 opponent down. And that puts us into the top 500, so double our goal. We're going to leave it at that. 23 games, but I don't know, I don't see myself sitting here and playing 45. So, hope you guys enjoyed the run. No, I haven't been around for a long time, but I had a lot of fun with this global tournament and this team, so I wanted to put it on display for my people. Until next time, peace.